I've been playing Minecraft for almost 13 years, and the project we're going to do in this episode, I don't think I've ever actually done during that time. Before we get to it though, I have some business to attend to over here at Goliath. That's right, Goliath was shortened, the contraption, and thus so has the name. But we are back over here to use this contraption the way we did initially, which was to simply place down blocks and then pick them back up again later. That's why we've got the haste beacon, and that's why there are lots of copper blocks here, because they influence the aging of the ones above them. And in the last episode, I speculated that we needed a new business model with copper. The current thing that's tricky to get are fully aged trapdoors. So I laid down a big batch of these and AFK'd for around 6 hours, and all of the trapdoors were fully aged, which you might note is a little bit faster than the last time that we did this. That's because we have more copper blocks beneath this. In the past, we would have had just one row of copper blocks, and now we've actually got 3, and that seems to knock off a couple of hours needed to fully age these trapdoors. So if you'd like to turn this information into action, it means you want to be aging copper blocks like this. 3 rows of slabs, put your blocks on top. In the past, we did it like this. It took about 8 hours to convert all of them to the fully oxidized state, whereas this method, it takes about 6. So now we have a large amount of oxidized trapdoors. And I am working on increasing our stock for the copper shop. We got to bring some business back there, of course. But first, I have another project to show you where I've been using these trapdoors. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. We are currently flying over towards the spawn chunks where we are going to do that project I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Yes, something that I haven't done in almost 13 years of playing this game. But here is the spot where I've also been using some of the copper trapdoors to decorate, and I'm going to be throwing some more of them down and around here. As you can see, the project is progressing along slowly since we checked it out in the last episode. But what I'd really like to focus on right now is the central area where players respawn. And here, I want to build like a map room, except the maps are going to go on the floor. And believe it or not, this is a project that I don't think I've ever done. It's quite common to make map walls of your world, either on the wall or on a floor. But I'm pretty sure this is a project I've never done myself. We've had them in previous seasons of Hermitcraft. This one was made by PythonGB back in season 4. Wow, there was a lot of stuff we got up to this season. And I guess I did something similar in season 1 of Hermitcraft, and boy, was it an episode or 2 ago that we were back here? I didn't get to show you what's on the nether side of this area. It's just a series of boring tunnels, but if we follow the ladders up the top here, we get to see a map to scale in the nether of my Avalon Island. We, of course, brought this concept back in Season 6 of Hermitcraft with what I think was probably the best nether hub we had ever created together as a group. It is so cool, an absolute mega project which I am so fond of. But this map that we're putting here won't really be a mega project on that scale, but we're going to need a lot of maps, a lot of item frames, and we need to figure out how to center the world into this area. This starts with a recent backup of the world and a program called MCA Selector. So here is the Hermitcraft world as it is. And if we zoom on in this area, you can see this is kind of the hub of where everyone is. This area also falls rather conveniently into this 3x3 grid of region files. And a region file is made up of chunks. Like this is a chunk right here. And here are the spawn chunks, which are 3x3. So when we go and look at this map, we can start to get an idea for how many chunks it is in total. You can see the north here is at the halfway point, and we know that this is 3 chunks. So the one down there is 4, and that means that this is going to be 8x8 in total. So in MCA Selector, we can start to mark out exactly where that map has appeared. And what you'll notice when we zoom out is that this is actually going between 2 of those different regions. In fact, the map that appears here will go between 4 of them. And I believe that this is because the grid in which maps are created is centered around 0, 0, which is this spot with the lava. Let's go ahead and create a map here and have a look. And then here in MCA Selector, it's almost identical. In game, there are a few details that are lost on this map that the MCA Selector picks up when it renders the world. But jumping back and forth between the two, it's really obvious this is where it's centered around. Now I've assembled this grid to help us define where the very central map is, and it's this highlighted area below loglands. This is all well and good, except for one thing, that this is a single point that's at the center, with a chunk being comprised of 16 by 16 blocks. That means the center is between 4 of them. So we need to choose what's actually going to be the very central point. Do we shift it down and to the left a little bit, or in that direction? What I decided was best was to shift it up and to the right. That means that we'd see a little bit more of this gaming district, and it just might squeeze ZF space into the area. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to be so, because ZF space is, well, right where these stairs are. So maybe at some point we'll recess these stairs backwards to squeeze a little bit more room out of this area. But once we clear up these signs and these other things, I want to get an idea of how many maps and item frames we're going to need in total. I don't know why I thought this was the next step, because we can solve that with math. It's 256. If we take away the bits with the stairs over ZF space, and on the other sides, it will go down to 240. This is the size of the server we're going to be mapping out. Oh, and do you know what? It looks like Scar's Death Star is going to be a victim on the opposite side too. Yeah, as cool as this looks, we might have to change something here. And anyways, what do we need for maps? We need paper, redstone, and iron. We got all of that covered. And for item frames, I've got plenty of leather from our farm in the Nether. It rhymed. That wasn't planned, but there you go. So cleanup time first of all, and then I'm going to be flying all over the server this episode. It's going to be really cool to see everything. It is looking really clean with the stairs, walls, and trapdoors in place, and this spot a patch hypnotic at the moment. That's because we got all of this glowstone with item frames on it ready to go. I figured having a nice bright floor would make the map much more visible. I'm happy to say we are making some good progress, but there is still a long ways to go. I have a really good technique for getting this done, and it's to do one strip in a row at a time. So with this being inside of a chunk, we know that the width is 16 blocks across, so we want 16 maps, and we want to head to this one first and then make our way across. So that's why I've got the coordinates hub enabled. Using MCA Selector, we can find out the coordinates of the area we want to go to, which is the 4th one of these down. So if I zoom in on this space, there is this block number in the bottom left of the app. The coordinates are very useful when you're flying out to the ocean, but when you're landing on a landmass, sometimes you can recognize it, and I can tell from the shape of this beach, this is the spot we want to be at. Now, so far, all of this probably seems rather arbitrary, but this is the thing that makes the difference. When we open up our first map, it's really useful to put it on your offhand. Then you can see it, head towards where you want to open the second map, and then open this up. But now this one is smaller too, and it's so much easier to see what you're doing when you've got a map in the offhand. Anyway, we're just paying attention to when the dot goes off the screen, so we then know to open the next map. And as you can see now, this ain't going to take us too much time at all. This is a really easy technique. And wow, look at Scar's trees. I'm getting distracted all of a sudden. These are utterly insane. Wow. They are really a sight to behold. I tell you what I love though. I love this light coming down the side, because the same textures are being used on each of the trees, yet this one here is brighter, as is that one over there. And when you move around and look at them from different sides, it's like one side of the tree is bright, and then the other side is dark. That's so clever. And it's also very distracting. We are now ready to open our next map, but what we really want to do is keep these in order. So we're going to use these 8 slots for the first half of our 16. So now when I open this map up, I immediately want to put it onto my offhand like that. And then we get to just continue the process. And if you're quite daring, you can do this really quick by continuously using some rockets to whiz through all of the different areas and open up your maps. And moments later, we've run out again. So one thing I do have to do now is like land down on the ground. But again, we're going to move these into our inventory in order like so. And that, my friends, is the process. It only takes about 5 or 6 minutes to get across a whole width of these maps. But you do spend a fair bit of time like flying back and forth to the center. And that reminds me, yep, my wings are about to go. I mean my horse, because I'm still using a horse to get around the server. Yeah, that idea died a swift death, didn't it? Anyway, we're back, and I guess these first few maps we can put in reverse order. Then as for the rest, we're going to be transferring them down one by one like this to keep them organized. And there you go. That's the process we got to repeat for this entire area. With rockets and maps at the ready, what could possibly spoil our fun now? Well, world corruption issues.
Hi, it wasn't me, Xisuma. It wasn't me.
Oh, that's made me highly suspicious.
I truly did nothing. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
Really bad, yeah.
They're empty. They're not only invisible, but they're actually empty as well.
Shulker boxes and chests, though, from your message.
It seems to be. Yeah, barrels were doing it. Even my bed was invisible. Obviously, it was usable still. But obviously, I've lost all the stuff that was in it. Ender chests are going invisible as well. Like, I've tried playing without any mods at all. I've tried updating any mods, my graphic, like all the stuff. I definitely think it's like a server.
Oh, it's undoubtedly server. Yeah, it will have to be. So there I was, enjoying an early morning live stream over on Twitch, where you should definitely go and follow me. And ZF was having issues with actual chests in the world turning invisible and all of their contents just disappearing.
It's very weird. This stack of chests was all gone. And now the top two have just reappeared, but they're still empty. But the bottom two have gone. So, like, new development, kinda. It's tiny, but I've just noticed the chests and everything up here have gone. And if you look at it, see that hopper right at the top there? There's some bamboo blocks on top of it. Oh, yeah. That hopper is empty, and if you look in the hopper, then the bamboo blocks go in. So it was like the bamboo blocks didn't understand that the hopper didn't know it could pick the bamboo blocks up.
Let's pop through the nether. Oh, that bit is not lit.
Fooled ya.
Is that the entire point of it?
You got pranked.
Oh, this whole time. Wait, that's it. This whole thing's a prank. Zed's just figured out some new technology to make stuff disappear. Oh my god.
I've invented a redstone machine. It's incredible. It's happening to Gree and waiting in the nether as well. So it's like the longer you spend in the nether, the more likely the chunks back home are likely to unload. And then when they do load in,
why did this happen
containers are poop. I know. It's weird.
And so, as the admin of the server, I spent the next few hours going through all the mods one by one, disabling them, re-enabling them. Oh, it took forever. Well, actually, no, it just took a couple of hours. But eventually we found the root cause of the problem with one particular mod which we disabled, and what was really strange is that mod had been running absolutely fine for ages. But on this Tuesday morning, it just decided to be a problem. And so the mapping that you've seen me do flying across the world in this episode, it got rolled back, and then it got rolled back again after I repeated myself. So I could have been done with all of this mapping by now. Instead, we're about halfway there, and I discovered a couple of interesting things on the map. Okay, the first thing is Impulse's Cyberpunk City. Do you see it? Do you see it? All of our infested stone shows up on this map. So if ever you wanted to put a secret message in stone blocks, if you replace some of them with infested stone, they will appear different on a map. Now, the next thing I discovered, I have a feeling is a Mission Possible thing, but there's an X on this map, and X marks the spot. So of course we have to grab our shovel and go and investigate. So this should be simple enough. From a distance there, I was half worried that this was TNT or something. But X marks the spot, right? What's down here? There's a chest. That's promising. Okay, what are we going to find? What are we going to find? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, you know what? I'm gonna fill this back in and just replace it. But at least I'll leave something for the next person that falls for this, because I'm pretty sure I'm probably not the first one, right? Okay, there you go. Good as new. I have a little bit of a story to tell you. You see, there's an awesome event going down on the server that I was going to partake in, but after spending all that time working on the mods. When it came to the evening and recording, I was just so drained. I really couldn't give it my all. And I had something really cool prepared for the event, which was this for our new Permit Master Overlord, Mr. Cubfan135. That is a glorious trophy by Hoffen. And I've actually been meaning to come back over here for some time to show you the growing trophy cabinet of custom trophies that we have on the server. There is one on that side of the room and one over here as well. All of these models were made by Hoffen. They look so good and I love them. And business is still going good over here. I occasionally get the mail in to, update the leaderboard and send out some of our custom trophies. And on occasion, I even sell one of the 100 levels over here too. So we got to get back to our mapping project. I just wanted an excuse to show off those trophies again. And I'm a bit bummed out on missing out on that event. You'll know it when you'll see it. And if there's going to be another one in the future, I definitely want to be there next time. But as I said, after dealing with that stuff all day, I was completely drained when it came to recording. I am all recharged today though, but running out of paper for our maps, making really good progress here. This bit has been especially fun to fly over the top of, and we're about to get deeper into the shopping area. But yeah, my sugarcane farm isn't sufficient enough, and I was looking around the server for someone to pinch some sugarcane from. And then I remembered that Cubfan had a farm, which feels really fitting because he's, of course, our partner in crime on this project over at the Spawn Chunks. And look what Cub's been up to. I think he's got all of the different dog variants. Oh, this is so cool. I'm amazed. I'm impressed. I'm not sure that it's got all the variants here. But wow, they look so cool in the dog armor. Yeah, in fact, I think Cub just has one variant of wolf, that type there. Oh, these are very, very cute distractions. We just came here to get some sugarcane. Oh, and it's already been converted into paper. How convenient. Let's now fast forward in time because I put all that paper to good use and actually finished the entire mapping project, including moving back those stairs as well. And this thing's kind of crazy because when you stand above it, it's hard to see the whole thing. Fortunately, we have the detach cam so we can get that overhead view and drop in and zoom in on any part of the map that we like. And I've kind of realized we were spoiled a little earlier on by using MCA selector. This would have been like the big reveal, but we kind of already seen this view before. And I've been examining the map from up here. And I haven't found any other secrets or anything particularly interesting other than this one spot. Yeah, all the way out here. It's just behind Goat Mountain where there's a crazy amount of goats here. And this mysterious building is related to goats. I think it's some sort of weird goat murdering hole. Oh, what have I stumbled upon? What is this place? It's the sounds. It's the sounds that are the best bit, by the way. Oh, goats make a right old racket. Last time I flew over Goat Mountain, many of you said that it was Cubfan who had been breeding all of the goats. And his doggies over here, mainly the doggy armor that they're wearing, inspired me to do a little something. You see, the other day, all of our turtles in the turtle mosh pit, they just mysteriously disappeared somehow. It is very tragic, but I have found a new home for some armadillos over here. Yeah, these cute little critters are just roaming all around Ren's base, so it just took me a moment to come over here, find them, breed them up, and lead some babies back over to our base. But what I've done is added a little collection system. Just over here, there's now a barrel where scoots come into automatically, and that's because behind here, we got a minecart hopper going back and forth underneath the armadillos, so whenever the scoots pop out, they get picked up down here. So I'm farming scoots, but I have zero plans on what I'm going to do with them. Also, how on earth did this get into my inventory? Oh, I don't know what's going on there. I gotta say, I'm actually really fond of this look. I should just start wearing that and people will probably think I've changed my skin. Right, enough with the shenanigans. It's time to get back to some serious business. And in order to conduct such business, I needed to pay a visit to a new shop that's popped up in the ocean. It's not a pop-up shop though. This is very permanent. And I needed some prismarine. This is the spot to get it. But this shop has like the coolest exit ever. Isn't that just awesome? I needed some prismarine for a block palette as we need to sell trapdoors. Do you remember we were aging them at the beginning of this episode? Well, now we're going to be selling them too. And we're going to do that through a shipping container that's been dropped into the area and it's covered in some trapdoors. So prismarine at the front and a familiar block palette, which I've borrowed from some of what we did over here, throwing in a couple of extra textures. As you can see, it just spices things up a little. But I'm really happy with this container. It looks cool. I've probably got to do a bit more work on the surrounding area to blend it in, make it feel like it's been properly dropped onto the ground. But it's the interiors at the moment that are really quite lacking. There's not much going on over here. However, this is a trap chest and there is redstone underneath that it'll activate. And I do have a supply to sell. So the joke here is that this shop is called It's a Trap. It's a trap door, and we've got them for sale. And now this looks a little more interesting on the inside. And yes, I brought back our copper golem mascot. Of course we had to do that. As for the trap, well, you'll just have to wait and see if anyone else falls for it. But I am pretty sure that these copper trapdoors are going to be in high demand. I've seen sites like this up ahead around the server. Hermits are trying to figure out how to age these fast, and I'll tell you now, Ren, this ain't the way to do it. And on that note, I think we should be wrapping this episode up. The map project was a big success. So was the aging of the trapdoors. All has been good. And it brings us to the end of this one. So leave a like if you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in another. Bye-bye.